Hey everybody, Tony D and Little Joan here with a Screenwriter's Rant on June again. This is June, and she is in an old folks' home, and she's suffering, I guess, from some sort of dementia, but she suddenly gets very lucid again, and she wants to take her life back. So, realizing that she's in a not a mental home, but an old folks' home, she escapes because now she's lucid and she goes back and tries to put her life back together. But she finds out her home's been sold. Her son's now divorced and working at a copy shop. Her daughter is sort of tolerating her and trying to run the family business. And she was the kind of person that ran everything. And she just does what she wants. She borrows her daughter's car to go get an old dresser that she sold because it was her husband's. It was like the last thing he saved, or she saved of him. And so she goes back to running their lives again and running the business. Apparently, he owned a business that she inherited, and technically it's still in her name. And she sabotages this guy's car because now he's the bad guy. The guy who now takes over her husband's business, I guess. So she sort of screws him over. It looks like a fun, quirky comedy, but one that has the potential for being also a little tragic at the end, because I think I know the ending of this. So the first act is she wakes up in the home, and they're treating her like a child, but she's not acting that way anymore. She's totally lucid. I don't know if they show her not being lucid, but now she's got her mind back all of a sudden. And she's like, why am I here? Like, what the hell's been going on? And she's been in the home for like, I don't know how many years, like 3 or 4 years, let's say. And now they're like, well, this is what you do every day. And she's like, okay, whatever. And they put her in like the group room or whatever, and she comes up with a plan to escape, and she sneaks out of the group home or the old folks home, goes back to her house, finds that it's sold. Her daughter's called, and then the daughter, and she steals some clothes, I think, and then the daughter's called, and then she updates her on what happened. And her 2 kids, their lives have kind of fallen apart since she's been in the home. Her son's now divorced. Her daughter's struggling with the business, I guess, keeping the business. And so she, being the kind of person she used to be, snaps right back into it, right? Goes back to running their lives and doing all these things that she doesn't give an F, right? She's an old person. She's like, this is what I want, and I'm going to have it, and no one's going to stop me. So she tries to get back her house. That doesn't really work out, but she tries to get back her dresser, who it was the last thing she kept of her husband, essentially, like to remind her of her husband. So she like breaks into a house with her daughter, and it's like a fish out of water thing. It's like she comes back to sort of reinvigorate the lives of her 2 kids who have kind of lost their way. The third act is probably a race against time as she starts to suffer from dementia again. And the kids get back on board. They start to get their lives in order, but now they realize, she's falling back into what she was. I think the saddest ending for this movie could be that she goes back to that home. I would not want to see that in a comedy movie. I would want to see the kids or that she never goes back there. That would be great. It's some sort of crazy miracle that doctors don't understand. Like, well, she's fine now. Or she doesn't know how much time she has, or, I wouldn't want to go back to that home. No, don't put me in there. So June again looks like an interesting comedy movie. There's a lot at stake there, right? That's what makes it exciting. There's a lot at stake. Her life's completely at stake here, and she just doesn't care. This is her son, who now has to work at a copy shop, and he's had to divorce his wife, and that always sucks. So I like the premise. I think it's different, and I like the name. Her name's June. It's June again. like she's herself again. So cool movie. I think it's English, from Samuel Goldwyn Films. Um, yeah, we need more comedies, and this looks quirky and fun, kind of indie comedy. I would totally see it. And that's it for me and Little Joan today. Make sure you check us out on Bitchute and Rumble. A lot of you people are checking us out on Rumble. I'm up to I suddenly skyrocketed to 250 subscribers, over. Thank you so much. So I'm catching up to Bitchute. I gotta say, Bitchute, I've stagnated at 300 and I've been stagnating at 330 to 335. And I think the only reason is because the interface in Bitchute is still a little rough. It's okay, but it's still a little rough. And uploading is now a nightmare over at Bitchute, by the way. Just an absolute nightmare for me. I have to process the video 3 times to upload it to Bitchute. Anywho, enough complaining by me. We'll see you tomorrow.